We are back on the channel and we're working on the Caldina. So you've probably seen a couple of months ago I bought this Caldina. Really cool car. Rare enough in Ireland. I don't know if there is another one at the minute. If there is, do let me know in the comments. But anyway, I've enjoyed driving this. It's such a cool daily driver, just 4-speed automatic, really cool. But it is now out of NCT. And I'm going to have to try and get this car NCT'd. So I'm going to go through the car with a fine tooth comb. I can already see on the floor that we've got some oil leaks, some coolant leaks. God knows when there was a time belt done on it. Going to need to check brake lines, all that sort of stuff, especially in an 96 car, rust and brake lines. It's probably going to be the biggest part of it. So we're going to have to go through the car, see what we can find, and see if we can get this thing through an NCT. So you're along for the ride in this one. I am going to do time belt in this episode. I'm going to do time belt. I'm going to do brake lines if we need to do brake lines. I'm currently taking the works wheels off it. I actually knew the specs of these works wheels, but they're actually 18 by 9.5s on a Caldina or a Carina, basically. Yeah, just looking in here, all the wheel liner is gone, so I would really like a wheel liner. So if anybody knows of a Carina or any of the likes lying anywhere, I would like a wheel liner. And this wing is very bad. These coilovers as well, they look pretty rusty here in the front. I'm gonna have to see if I can adjust them because I do need to raise the car up. Just a first initial look at the brake lines here seem to be okay, but that coilover is, I hope it's not seized. So I am going to do time belts, so I'm going to need to get this cover off here to get into the bottom pulley. And yeah, as it says, we have got a coolant leak and we've got an oil leak. And yeah, when you look up the back there, it is pretty leaky. So I'm going to have to clean all of that up and see where that leak is coming from. And also the coolant leak is coming from somewhere at the front. But yeah, so I had no stud to take them off. So I found one in the old garage at home. And I'm just going to get the wheels off it. I do have a Toyota Avensis. Don't think I've ever had it on the channel. That may be another episode I might do. I don't know if you want to see me doing up these old cars and getting them tested and stuff like that, do let me know, because I'm kind of at the point with the YouTube is like, there really is only so much drifting you can watch. And I think it's maybe time to change it up and take on some old projects like this and take on projects like doing a time about the Caldina, what I've never ever done before. Things like that. So let me know in the comments if you do want to see some more content of doing up old cars and just doing up random stuff, and also a mix of drifting as well. But do let me know in the comments. But yeah, that old Avensis, I do have wheels and they will fit this, so I will probably be putting the Avensis wheels onto this for test, because I don't think the NCT man would be quite happy with that stretch now. So yeah, I'm going to put on the Avensis wheels. And somebody was working on this car before, like there is copper lines in, but even some of the original lines here, they're clean there. Somebody must have painted them. Oh, I know. And somebody's painting the drums, the black paint must have went here, but still that line looks pretty solid. These look like new BCs, but the fronts don't. I don't know. Does that BC coilover look like it should be in the front of some car to hold a drop link? I wonder what these BC coilovers, doesn't say. Usually it'd say what they're for. I don't know. Let me know. Should that be in the front of a car? Because it does bolt in like some S chassis and stuff like that. The front's bolt in like that. Do let me know. We're going to be trusting the SB Tools toolbox to do all this work. If you haven't seen the full review on that SB toolbox, do go and check it out. 2 episodes ago. That's just like the best box ever. So the SP Toolbox is going to be helping us out in this project, getting this car ready for NCT. So as it says about the 90s Toyotas and brake lines, no, it's not extremely pitted, but when you do follow it in underneath the car, so as I said, when you follow it in underneath the car, it seems to be a little bit crusty, but the brake line doesn't seem to be pitted. So I may just try and, I'm just going to clean all that up with sandpaper. Clean it all up just in case some NCT man gets a notion that it's too pitted. So I'm going to clean all them lines up and make them all nice and clean, because they don't seem to be overly pitted or heavily pitted, as you would say. But yeah, if they failed it on that line anywhere at all, that line is going to be a bit of a pain in the ass to get up and over the tank. But it mightn't actually be too bad. But yeah, I'm going to clean up that line. This line has been done before. This other line has been all done, so that's copper. So that's not too bad. But overall, it's a little bit crusty, but it's solid underneath. They are bad places to go. And that is a bit of rust there now, as you can see. But I don't know if you'd call that structural. I don't think you would. Here could be a problem. I don't want to hit it too hard now, because I could be in trouble there. This side seems a little bit more solider. But yeah, this could be worrying here now. I might just leave well enough alone and see what Mr. NCT man thinks of that. But moving up to the front of the car, as you can see, there's a lot of leaking oil, and yeah, there seems to be like a return pipe there coming off, like the oil filter housing type thing, coming back down to here, and there's a good drop on there. There looks to be like an oil pressure switch put in here that somebody, I do reckon that there was a lot of like gauges inside in the car, like water temperature, oil temperature stuff. So somebody must have put these in here. But yeah, there's a couple of leaks to address definitely in there. I did find in the car 2 gearbox oil seals, but they don't look very bad. They don't look too bad, but they are genuine oil seals. So somebody must have bought them, intended to do something with them. So yeah, overall there is a couple of little bits and pieces on the car that I do want to address. But mechanically wise, I think I'm going to clean up that brake line in the back, and then do the timing belt, fan belt, or timing belt, alternator belt, and power steering belt. I'm going to do all the belts on it and just get it all mechanically sound. Try and fix some of the oil leaks and water leaks, and basically go from there. Maybe raise the car a little bit and put the Toyota wheels on it, and maybe, or the Avensis wheels, and just send it to test and see. You know, you could go on now, you could end up in a full rebuild. So I might just send it in for test, see what sort of list it comes back with, and then fix from there. But overall, for a 96 car, it is pretty solid. Of course, she's sweating a bit of power juice and stuff like that out of it, but yeah, I suppose it makes a bit of content, I suppose. And yeah, see how I get on at doing a time belt. This 2-litre turbo diesel engine from 1996 that I've never done before. So let's see how that goes. So I've just got this cover taken down here, and about the coolant leak. I can see coolant leaking all around here. Is it this? That maybe? Oh. Okay. So that just wasn't tight. bunk wasn't tight. Now, I do remember from my years of Carinas and stuff that the radiators, I think, give trouble in them, but I'm just not confident of that clip either, that it's fully on that pipe. But yeah, it seemed to have a lot of water here, but I don't know, there's some drops up there as well, so maybe need to look at all this water pipe here. That definitely wasn't tight, but yeah, right. Alternator is a toothed belt, a V-belt, and the power steering, it made a lot of squeaking noise and stuff like that, so you can see that the belt is sort of half worn. So anyway, we've got to take all these off and try and get in at that timing belt and put a timing belt on it, and I have all these new belts ordered. So timing belt, water pump, and all the new belts, and that'll leave that engine sweet for probably another 20 or 30 years. But yeah, right, let this car down, dive right into it, keep an eye on this water leak, and yeah, let's get to work. Part of the reason why I am doing this timing belt, as you can see, there's a lot of slap in that. Now, is that too much slack? I'll need to work out what way the tensioner works. I think it has something to do with this spring here. But when I get it all ripped, I'll hopefully figure that out. But yeah, this is all new territory to me, and yeah, let me know. I think that's way too much slack. And you can even see this pulley here, which is probably my injector pump. It seems to be kicking a wee bit as well. So anyway, keep ripping, and then we'll get a full look at it when we get all these covers off and stuff like that. Get a better look at it. Obviously somebody has done the time belt on it because there is Tipex marks, but every little thing has gone off the belt, so I'd say it's quite some time since I got a belt. Pulley has been a bit of a pain. It seems to be, it is starting to move, but it's just not. I think I'll have to pull it square off. I was trying to tap it with a dead blow hammer there just to try and free it up a wee bit, but that I'd say is very brittle, so it's not going to take too much beating if I do put the big hammer to it, but there is play in it, so it is walking a wee bit, but I think I need to just pull it square off. Got the alternator belt off, and the old V-belt, the old toothed belt, V-belt or whatever, I don't know, is it a toothed belt or a V-belt? Anyway, Long for Car Parts are getting me 2 new belts and time belt as well, plus the water pump, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Now, I've never done this before, and with all the oil leaks and everything, it makes it a wee bit dirty, but look, I'll figure it out as I go along, and sure, what's the worst that'll happen? Type it up wrong and it all goes into bits, but we'll have to just wait till the end of the video to find out if it works or not. Right, I've got it off, and it's very, very shiny in there, and when you look at it, seems to have been rubbing off the plastic there quite a bit, so maybe it was loose at some stage, or maybe the plastic was loose at some stage, but yeah, quite a bit of rubbing going on there. And SP Tools, these bars are unbelievable. They're €80 on the website, and you can adjust it to wherever you need to go. And that helped me to get that off. Just gently persuading it on and off. But yeah, right, let's get this cover off, this oily, rotten, dirty cover, and see what's here. We've got that cover off, a couple of wee tens holding it on, and yeah, strange sort of setup for the belt here. Crankshaft. What's this? Is it an idler pulley? Is it an idler pulley, or is it, what is it? Is it an oil pump? Would that be the oil pump? There, and crank. I don't really know. I'm gonna have to do a lot of research on this, but definitely was a water pump in here done before. There's a lot of sealer here. A lot of sealer. So yeah, I am gonna have to let off the engine mount and take off all of this. It looks like I am gonna have to take off the power steering pump. All that's gonna have to come off the side of it. But yeah, love a good challenge. So I do see, I've seen Tipex somewhere on this pulley there. So there was Tipex there, but I know on modern engines, like, you know, you put in your pins and you lock up all your cams and your crank and all the top dead center and all that crack, but I don't know about this. So I'm going to do a bit of research on it, and hopefully I do it right. But again, there's a lot of slack on it. Like I can really pull the belt. That's how much slack is on it. Look. That's definitely not right. I could literally pull that belt off there now if I wanted to, but we won't do that yet until we get all timed up or all set in position. Evening 2 on the Caldina. So yeah, you've seen just there, evening 1. We've got it pretty well stripped down. So I think I'm gonna have to let the car down now, get a jack underneath the engine and start loosening off the engine mount, and it looks like I'm gonna have to go off power steering, pump and all that sort of stuff, get it all out of the way to get in at the rest of the time belt. What have we got? We've got the world's biggest water pump. So this is gonna require a lot of ripping to do to get this in. It's huge. There's a gasket for here and there's a gasket for here. We've got a tensioner and a pulley and a belt in there. Then we've got our 2 belts for the alternator and for the power steering. So we got all of that stuff thanks to Jimmy and Mark in Love Car Parts. The boys got me sorted on them. So yeah, it's good to know that they can still get stuff for the good old, basically, Carina. But yeah, let this down, prop up the engine, let off the engine mount, and get a little bit closer to that time belt. Now, that didn't take too long. It looked a lot scarier than it actually was. So yeah, we're basically ready now to set up our timing marks. So there's a timing mark on our camshaft, there's a timing mark on our injector pump, and there's a timing mark on our crank as well. So it's 3 timing marks, and they have to be absolutely perfect. So I can actually see one here already. So I need to have my injector pump lined up with this here, but now there is a red mark here and a white mark here, but there is actually a little dot on the pump itself, on the pulley. So I want to find that, because I don't want to really go off that red mark or that white mark. Now the white mark might be fairly good, but I just want to make sure I can find that mark. Make sure I can find that mark and line it up with this one here. And then there is another mark over here, I need to find that now, so it's very hard to hold the phone and record. But there is a line marked there, and that should line up, I think, should line up somewhere here. So there is a mark on that there before as well. So, but anyway, I've got my trusty document from TechDoc, which is very handy. We've got TechDoc in Ola Motors, or Autodata. So Autodata basically explains it all to me. So it says we've got a mark on the bottom, we've got another mark here, and this is what I was looking at here. I've got two marks here. I've got a mark here and a mark here. So I need to see what is going on there, but this is brilliant. Gives us all our torques and whatever we need to tighten everything up to. And basically gives you like full installation on how to do it. So tighten up the crankshaft pulley bolts, tighten 98 Newton meters. If it's a Carina or a Corolla or Venza, tighten down 196 Newton meters, which is fairly mental. But anyway, so this bit now, I'm going to leave the camera down and I'm going to pay attention and basically get all my marks right on the engine, set it all up, and then once I have all my marks right, I'm going to let off the tensioner and let off this wee spring, hop the belt off, and start fitting them back up again. So, being honest, I was dreading this because when you look at the 2-litre turbo diesel engine, it just looks like a lot's going on, but it doesn't look too bad. So I'm feeling confident. At the start, I was thinking I rip this and I won't have time to play and it'll be a mess, but I think I'm confident. That's all I'm saying. Right, we've got everything timed up. We've got all the marks correct. Now they're very, 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 very small, but if you can see that little dot there lining up with that mark, could go back a little bit if I wanted it, but it's very, very close. And here, this line, you can see right in front of you, has to line up, as you can see the Tipex on the other side of that sprocket. So line up with that, and that's okay. Down here on the crank, this now is very, 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 very hard to see. So you can see where the Tipex is on the block. There's a little nick in that there and a nick on the block, and that is what lines that up. So we're timed. We can let off that tensioner. And then the mammoth task of replacing that big lump of a water pump, and it looks like I'm going to have to take the pulley off for the injector pump as well. Why that is, I don't know. Is there coolant around the injector pump, or what's going on? But anyway, pull all that out and refit it, seal it all up, and get the new belt on. We'll check back in then. Okay, now we're going really deep into this thing. So we've got the belt off, we've got the tensioner off, we still got the cam shaft still sitting in the right time position, and so is the crank. And yeah, tensioner's off, belt's off, and we've had to take off the pulley for the fuel pump. So that's off, but I know where the timing mark is on it, and it's key weight, so there's nothing really that can go wrong there as long as it's right back, timed right. So take off a whole load of tens here and take off this whole contraption. And while I am here actually as well, I am going to take off the thermostat housing, because this will be out of the way, and I'm going to take off the thermostat housing and reseal that in there, because I think it is weeping and it's kind of wet in there. So do that while I'm in there as well. So yeah, look, it does look fresh enough, the water pump on it. When or what it was done, I'm not sure, but I do think there is some bolts that are down here. I can just see the threads of them there. So yeah, another one there as well. So yeah, quite the rip. But look, it's good to learn these things, and it'll be a perfectly run engine in for another 20 years when I'm finished with it. So there it is, the old water pump. Doesn't look too bad. Well, there does seem to be some corrosion and some stuff on the blades, but they're not worn away, so she was still pumping water. Yeah, a lot of sealer used on it, so we'll try and be a little bit neater with the sealer when we're going back on with it. There was a gasket on it as well, but I do like just to put a little skim, smallest little bit of sealer just around it, just as a precautionary measure. But yeah, there's water everywhere and it's a big mess, but yeah, what a bit of ripping to get in at that. And I don't know why it has to go through, why they decided to put it through like the injector pump. I really don't know why they've done that, but anyway, it does look that you can actually sort of clock that, and why that's like that. You might let me know in the comments. But anyway, get this all cleaned up, get all that, get a Stanley blade, clean up all that surface, polish it up, and get that like absolute brand new, and then we'll be ready then to start putting all our bolts and stuff back in there, putting the new water pump on. Okay, so I got the drill with the wire wheel, and I just cleaned up all the surface there and got the old gasket sealer and all that stuff off. I'm just going to get an airline now and just blow out any of the water and get that nice and dry to make sure that the new sealer will go on lovely. I need to take this pulley off here as well because I've got a replacement for that. I have took off the thermostat housing, and there is an O-ring on the thermostat, but I think just around it. Don't think it was sealing just 100%, so I went mad with the wire wheel and I got all this nicely cleaned up. And yeah, this pipe here, I don't know, as you can see the amount of stuff that's in it. It looks like this pipe has been leaking for quite some time, and I don't know if somebody's put like rad weld in it or something, but there's a lot of gunk in there. I don't know if the pipe just gone bad, but for the size of this to go in here, I just think pipe is just a wee bit too big. Now if I did have a proper tubular clip, these little squeezy lads, I don't know if it's just doing the trick and that, so just gonna pay attention to that and see what I'm gonna do there. But first of all, I need to clean up that area where that thermostat is, get that all nice and polished, and then I can put back in the thermostat. Just a little bit of sealer, nice neat little bit of sealer around there, and that might just stop any of the water leaks from that area there, and then we address this pipe then after that. Now that's that done, so nice little bit of sealer in there. Just clean away any of the residue and get rid of that and have it all nice and neat. It's all cleaned up, and I cut this pipe back. It just looked like it had expanded way too much, and yeah, I cut it back down to where it's nice and tight and snug again, so that's a nice neat little job. And yeah, tidy up all the rest of this dirt and shit down here now, and then we get the water pump back on. Right, so we are getting there, and I'm actually really enjoying this. So let me know in the comments, do you enjoy diving into an engine that you've never worked on before and just figuring it all out as you go, with the hope that at the end of it all it's going to start, first turn the key, and you're going to have no problems. But yeah, do let me know in the comments, do you enjoy challenges? And I enjoy them, and what's the worst that can happen at the end of the day? So if you are holding back from doing your own work and stuff like that, why not try it? Give it a go. I actually really enjoy it. It's nice here in the shed. Obviously don't have the music on now, but yeah, got the music on, playing away, and yeah, it's good therapy. It's very good therapy. So I'll flip around the camera and show you how far I am on now at the minute. So I've got the new water pump in. I've just nipped all the bolts, so I'm going to go around and tighten them all. They don't need to be very tight, just go around and nip every single one of them and make sure that they're just a little bit more than hand tight. They don't really tight in the water pumps. And take off that tensioner, put on the new tensioner, and then we're ready to start building back up again. So but it is nice to take the time. You got the new water pump all here, and just to clean up that pipe there as well, and just clean up all the engine bay. So we'll use all our sealers and stuff, so hoping that we'll have no more water leaks or oil leaks. And just also looking at this light is kind of affecting shot, but it is a really clean chassis. There's no rust in here or anything, so it would. Do you ever get tempted when you actually have something more stripped? You're like, yeah, you could do like paint all that up and have all that nice, but then next thing you know, the engine, the gearbox and everything else is out the floor, and you're doing a full rebuild and stuff like that. So yeah, we might just leave it. I'll clean it all up and clean the dirt off it and have it just clean. But yeah, it would be nice to put a shot of black paint on that and leave it all nice and mint. But anyway, back to this. Getting distracted as usual. Okay, we're nearly ready for time belt now. Put on the injector pump back on, and tensioner back on. So we'll, when we get our tension, it's kind of cool the way it works. So we will tension up our belt and tighten it up, put a spring on it then, so the spring holds the tension on it, even though this is tight. So actually missing a little thing there that the spring sits around, that's on the old pump, so I need to get that. But yeah, I've measured my belts. So basically I just laid one belt top of the other belt and marked it, I'll say just like that, and worked my way the whole way around, and the belts are the exact same length. The old belt is very rubbery. Obviously it's rubbery, but it feels like it had got a lot of oil or something in its time, whereas the new belt is a little bit more rigid. So yeah, hopefully we're getting very close. Not a bad evening's work for evening 2. Probably be an evening 3 on this, just to get it all put back together. But yeah, good progress. And there we have it. We have the time belt on and tensioned up, so there is a good bit of play in this, right? So the last belt was the same, and I'm not very happy with it, but I am going to try and tension it up another little bit, but I'm afraid if I tension up another little bit, I'm going to either put the crank off or the cams off or the pump off. So like everywhere else has that little bit of play in it, but that is a lot, and that's the way the old belt was. So I'm going to see, can I get just a little bit more, or is that the old 2 litre TD engine? Is that the way they were? That much slack in them? I'm going to try another little bit of tension, just a small little bit, and I'll be happy. But the biggest fear is it going to knock the crank off, injector pump, or the cams off? So, all right, let's try just a smallest little bit. Right, that went to plan. So, as I says, tension, wasn't happy with it. So now, that is a lot, it's a lot snugger than what it was. So all my marks are all still lining up, so I'll do 2 turns, or maybe even 3. 2 turns at the bottom end, and hopefully everything lines back up, and then it's just a whole matter of assembling it all back together again. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm going to call that evening 2 successful evening. It's all timed up. A little bit nerve-wracking, but it's actually not too bad when you get into it. So it's all timed up, and now it's all put it all back together. We've looked at the water leaks on the front of it as well. So yeah, this episode's getting really, really long. So wrap it up for evening 2. There will be an evening 3. Finish this all back, put it all back together, and start it. So that is coming up next. So yeah, clip to evening 3, to where we start assembling and turning over this thing for the first time after doing the time belt. It is evening 3, and I'm going to be really, really quick on this now. I really need to finish this up and get this all put back together and get starting this ASAP, because there's a big storm, Owen or something is coming, and the whole country's talking about this big storm, red alert, da. But I need to get this put back together so I can lift it up in the air, and I need to get the 180 back into the garage and the other cars all into the garage and get them in safe out of the storm. So I'm going to put a time lapse on this, whack this out, put it all back together, and hopefully next clip after the time lapse you'll be seeing this thing turning over. That is the top half all finished off. I just got one bolt in the top mount, just holding the engine in, so I need to let it up in the lift. Just one bolt comes up this way and there's two going down the way. So I just put that in and tightened up all these bolts, all the engine mount bolts. All's done, and yeah, just give these a wire brush and just clean off the old, really old oil and stuff like that. There is a bit of a weep from the power steering pump, but we'll address that again. And I think the weep from the power steering pump had just destroyed everything. So just cleaning, wire brushing everything up and leaving it as clean as possible going back in. Power steering pump's all back in. Tensioner and pulley is back on. Okay, I just have it nice and free there so I can put the belt back on. Let it up in the lift. Put on the bottom pulley and put on the covers, guards, stuff like that. And then put on our power steering belt and alternator belt, and then we're there. So straight back to work. So the SB toolbox is really getting its work cut out this week, but yeah, this is why I went for the bigger box. I'm able to lay out all my tools and everything on it, and with a quick glance you're able to see where all your tools are. You know, tools are in all pile. It's a little bit messy, but that's just the way I work, but it's nice to have everything just here beside me. So I've got engine mount back on, and I tightened the 214s that are up there, so that's done. I have water in the system, so there doesn't seem to be any water leaking from the water pump, so that's a good start. So let's just put this bottom cover on now, put back on my pulley, and I was looking at my notes. So I tightened the crank pulley bolt, except Carina's, Corollas, Events is tightening 196 Newton meters. Yeah, I don't even know if I have torque wrench long enough to do 196 Newton meters, but we'll give her a couple of duggas at the D-walt and sure, hope for the best. Okay, that's the bottom pulley back on. Just give it a couple of duggas with the D-walt. Be fine. Okay, won't be going on here. So alternator belt and power steering belt. Put them two on, tension them up, and we should be ready to fire this thing. I have put water in the system and I still got water leaking here. Now this has been ongoing, and from my experience with the old Toyotas, I know the Carinas and stuff years ago were notorious for it. Yeah, radiators leaking, always a big problem. But I noticed this, wherever this is going, this is different. So yeah, we're gonna have to try and get a replacement rad. I may talk to the lads enough car parts to see what they can do for me. Yeah, that's going to continue leaking, unfortunately. So looks like we're gonna have to change the rad on it as well. Right, alternator belt is on and I have the tensioned up. I'm not really sure what sort of tension I need, but yeah, seems to be tight enough. So we'll see how that goes. The power steering belt is wrong, so it's too long, so I need to get a shorter belt. I should have checked it off the old one over there, but I didn't. So we're going to have to run without the power steering. Well, just to start it, it's not going to really make much difference. It's going to make much difference running it without the power steering, but at least we'll be able to start it. Make sure I have the engine timed correctly bring it up to temperature, get the thermostat opening, and get that coolant flowing through the engine, and make sure I'm bleeded out, and make sure we've no airlocks and stuff like that. But yeah, always something. But anyway, we'll get started by the end of this video, and I need to put the washer bottle and the header tank back into it. That's basically it. We're ready to fire this thing up. Fingers crossed I've done it right. Here it goes. I'm doing the first start, and I didn't do what probably other people do, is start it first and see. I'm actually starting it for the first time with you watching, so yeah, kind of nerve-wracking, but let's jump in, turn it over, see what happens, see if it starts, see if it all rattles and bangs and everything goes in shit. Okay, here we go. First turnover. Beautiful. Yes. Took it away like a mouse's hard. So good. Just like this old 2 litre TD turbo diesel engine, like it's just class. Like look at how smooth it runs. And you seen by the video, the first tip of the key, it started, so very good. Really happy with that. Right, on that note, I'm going to call it a video. I hope you enjoyed this timing belt video and just check over the Caldina. This really is only the start of it. I wanted to do a time belt water pump for my own sake and a learning curve. So let me know, did you enjoy the video? If you never want me to do another video like that again, let me know in the comments if you find it interesting or not. Also, Nigel's Drifting merchandise, as I said in my previous video, if you want to help me out, do these jobs on these cars and create more content for you guys, the Nigel's Drifting hoodies, €20 delivered to your door, and they're really warm hoodies. I'm always wearing them, and yeah, €20 delivered to your door, and every €20 helps me do these projects in the shade to bring entertainment to you at home. And yeah, DM me on Nigel's Drifting Instagram, Nigerty on Facebook, check me out, and I'll send you over hoodies, and I might throw in some goodies here, there and everywhere. But yeah, waffling on here. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.